What's goody in the hoodie, Blackwell family? Welcome back to the Blackwell Box. Happy Wellness Wednesday. As always, I'm your host, Wellness Liss, and welcome to the Blackwell Box, where we heal through having real conversations with real people. As you know, we uncover all things minority mental health, and this week is no different. But before we get into this week's episode, make sure the shameless plug is happening right now. You following the Blackwell Box on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. That's where you can catch the live video stream, and you can catch the audio playback wherever you get your podcast. You can say, "Hey Alexa, play the Blackwell Box podcast," and she's gonna play a boom flip skip right there for you. You can also go to Spotify, you can go to Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, or Amazon Music. All right, so now that all of that is done, today we have a very exciting topic, okay? I know when a lot of people think about mental health, they think heavy and deep and sad and crying and therapy. But today we're going to tap into a lighter side of mental health and kind of understanding that intersection between, mental health, wellness, and also fun, laughter, and that stuff that's real good for the soul. So giving y'all kind of a different angle today, all right? And who better to do that with than an amazing comedian? I'm sure y'all already know who it is. So right now, without further ado, I'm gonna just zip it up, and we're gonna bring in my guy Quail. What's up?
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
What's up? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm blessed to be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the Blackwell box.
Black
So
is a blessing.
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? We outside. We outside. So today we're gonna be talking about, comedy, blackness. We're gonna talk about that feel good, all of that kind of stuff. So we're gonna see where the conversation rolls. For those who don't know, we got Quail Not Funny on Instagram in the building. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you've seen his face, heard his voice pop somewhere across your Instagram feed, your explore page at some point. And if you haven't, now's the time. Go ahead and stop. Go ahead and look in the Instagram right now. Quail Not Funny, and go ahead and follow him. Period.
Yeah, laugh at a joke or two, will you?
Period. Make sure you comment and interact. All right. He in the Blackwell family now. So we're gonna sprinkle that support. All right.
We twins.
So,
Exactly.
Exactly. So we're gonna jump right in. So where would you say your wellness story began? Like, when did you start saying, I'm gonna start doing what I need to do for me to be the best version of myself?
I'll say like it probably was instilled into me early, like by my parents. I was lucky enough to have both my parents in the household, which was kind of rare where I grew up at. So I say like just like when my pops and my moms taught me, was like, you always better than where we at right now. So just by me and my siblings kind of knew that early on, so they always instilled that into us. So I was like I said, I was lucky enough to have that in the household. So every time I went to school, every time I went out, every time I went in the hood, anything, I knew it was some betterness. I can look on the TV screen and be like, oh, I'm gonna be that one day. I'm gonna be up there one day. I'm gonna be traveling one day. Like, and now I'm lucky enough to do it. And I'm looking back and I'll be telling my mom, she's like, yeah, I told you, like, So I say that's where my wellness story began. Like, I wanted to like do better, I guess.
Okay, that's what's up. I always tell people that, that concept of instilling wellness in kids, and that's why I started my sister company, Car Kids Wellness, because if the sooner we tell kids that you are great and give them the keys and the tools to be successful and mind, body, and spirit and all of that, and be aware of their emotions and their potential, it really sets them up for success in a way that I think is kind of underrated.
Yeah, it definitely make a difference for sure. And like you can like see that and like looking at kids, and like I saw that growing up. I can tell like, you probably didn't get as much like support or like, wellness in that. So yeah.
You gotta work twice as hard if you don't get it as a kid. Don't mean it's the end of the road. We just gotta play a little bit of catch up.
Yeah, for sure.
So with you being a comedian, what role does your comedy play in your wellness and your mental health?
Yeah, it play. I'm not gonna say 100%, but it play a huge role just because it's something that I love to do. It's like a part of me. It's something that like I always knew it was a part of me, but I just didn't know how to like bring it out. And once I brought it out, I don't got an education. Once I brought it out. So once I brought it out, it made me happy. Like it made me feel happy in a way I didn't know I could feel happy. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, like this, like, I like this, like I love this, like this is a good feeling, like I can ride with this. So it plays a huge role, and then making other people happy, and they show me like, oh man, you done brightened on my day, or you done made my week, or that was so funny, or oh you did this. Like I told my granny, I showed my daughter, I showed, like it's like all these. I'm like, dang, really? Like me? Like so that's like a whole different feeling. So it plays a huge role in my wellness for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. I always try to tell people, I think when we think about wellness initially, or we think about mental health, we think
Hmm.
of it in this very deep, sterile type of way,
Yeah,
And I always try to empower people that a lot of the things that you are already doing can be therapeutic and impacts your wellness more than we give it credit, doing it with intention of, I love doing this, this makes me happy, and that's my why behind why I'm doing it. That alone can make something that seems so regular be therapeutic in itself. And I think that it needs a lot more credit.
yeah, for sure. Especially sometimes it's the small things, like just making someone laugh is that's like that, like that's beyond the views and the money and the accolades. Like this, the people that DM me and be like, "Oh, you made my day." Like that's like the wellness part. Like that's like the
Mhm.
real reason why it's like the
Yeah.
little things. So yeah, for sure.
You gotta find good in the little things. And so with that, with the concept of, that community and helping other people, I know that in the black community is very important. We love our comedians. And I'm sure all
Yeah,
people, but it's the Blackwell box, so we're talking about Blackwell things, okay?
yeah.
So from your opinion, what do you think, what role does comedy play in the black community in general?
Oh, that's a good question. These some good questions.
Thank you. I try.
I say like I compare comedy to music. It's like a
Mhm.
what we call it, a comedic relief from like stress or like bad things or like trauma. Especially like you see comics, everyone got the stories of like my mama whooped me so hard, da 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 da, or
Mhm.
we wasn't allowed to do this, or we were so broke we had to eat. You know what I mean? We had
Yeah.
roaches. It's funny, Oh, we had roaches growing up. We had mice, rats. But but when you think about it, like people, we laugh about it because we can relate to that in the black community a lot. So it's like we have those bad things that that make us who we are, and then it's like a comedic relief.
All right. So we talked about how it's important, a big thing that helps you with your wellness is that your comedy impacts people. And I
Yeah,
think that it has the potential to connect a lot of people and normalize things. So what do you think? What role does comedy have specifically in the black community?
I think it gives the black community like a comedic relief from like stress, trauma, like any childhood problems or any like problems that we go through throughout life being black people in this community. Um, we hear a lot of comedians talk about the struggle of them, like their mama beating them, or they going through, stuff with their girlfriend, boyfriend. They going through, all these problems, and then we go on stage and we make it funny, and it's funny because it's relatable to the people. It's relatable to us. Like we say, oh, my mama used to beat me, for no reason too. It's traumatizing. Like your parents shouldn't do that, but
Mhm.
you make it funny, so it's like a little bit less stressful. You can share that
Mhm.
burden because you can relate to someone, or like you get into it, with your people or your girlfriend cheated on you. It's bad, but someone else talking about it makes it a little bit less, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a huge role in the black community because it gives us that like comedic relief from like what we go through in life.
All of the stress. I definitely agree. And I think in my experience, personally and professionally, a lot of times minority people, people of color, we use comedy as like a coping tool. We use it,
Hmm.
and there is research behind the concept of if you're feeling stressed, tell a joke, listen to a joke. There's actually like
Hmm.
that's used actually in the therapy session. So there's actually, stuff backing behind it. And I think a lot of times I've heard the quote, that we laugh to keep from crying. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that phrase? You think that it's a good phrase? It's kind of toxic? Is in the middle? What you think?
I mean, it could go either way because I mean, we taught to, believe that, as long as I'm laughing, as long as I'm smiling, I'm good. And countless, cases of any, A to B will tell you that that's not the case. We see comedians and rich people, poor people, famous people, non-famous people that go through this. Oh, I thought they were good. They was just with me the other day. We just partied. They were just on stage telling jokes yesterday. Now they. So it is kind of like misleading in a way, because you can still have that, like you can still laugh and internally be sad inside with your soul and your spirit and a lot of other reasons. But at the same time, you can definitely use like comedy to keep from crying in order to like become happy. And I think it's just like a lot is like with yourself and what you. It's like drinking, like anything you do to cope, like you have to be able to like use it in the correct way. Like if you drink to have fun with your friends, that's cool. But if you drink to hide from the pain and keep your, your pain away, it's different. If you laughing with your friends, you want to joke and you just genuinely happy, it's cool. But if you're only laughing because you don't want to cry and you're bottling it up, it might not be the safest practice to do. So, yeah.
I definitely agree. I think that, everything I always say, nothing's good, nothing's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a little bit of both. We gotta always make sure that we being honest with ourselves so that we could tell, are we keeping that balance like we need to? And so you kind of touched on something with the concept of comedians and they the funny ones. They kiki in
Yeah.
and all of that.
For
So
clowns.
do you think that it's normalized for Black comedians to seek mental health help? Or is it kind of, do they have to stay that happy-go-lucky person? Is that off brand?
That's crazy because I'm starting to like kind of go through that right now, and like with my name kind of getting bigger and stuff, like. And I used to see that growing up with like Mike Epps, Kevin Hart's, and Chris Tucker's, and they used to go through TMZ and all that type of stuff, and they was regular people, and they was like sad sometime, mad sometime, or just didn't want to be bothered, and yet people be like, put on your happy face, like Joker, like put on your smile, like we need to see you, like the movie you. So and sometimes I do be kind of like, I'm a little bit still starstruck. Like anybody that come up to me, like, oh, it's cool. Like I'm like instantly I smile. So, but I can definitely like see that people expect a joke, or they even ask me like, do a joke, and I'm like, I'm just chilling. Like I'm with the bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can laugh and kick it, but I don't want to just go straight comedian mode. So, no one has really been like disappointed in me or like yet, but as far as that, but it definitely is like a thin line that you got to really walk through and know, like again, know yourself and know which line, like which time to walk it. So
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think I see that even when we think about the Will Smith Chris Rock situation,
yeah,
and we see them, whatever side you on, that's a conversation for another day.
yeah.
Social media era. I'm
I
tired
don't
of it.
even know. I
It
don't know.
is exactly. But when we look at both of them, we
Mhm,
expect them to be whatever. We have a certain expectation, and that dictates how we interact or how we
mhm.
respect or what we want from people. And I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves that these people are people. I know even for me as a therapist, I was just talking to somebody and they were like saying that their therapist was saying that they also had a therapist, and that like blew their mind. Like they were like, wait a minute. How you gonna help me if you need help? And so I think that this concept of that certain people, like comedians, like celebrities, like therapists, that they should have it all figured out, or they have to stay on brand, stay
Mhm.
smiling, happy, wave, and we people too, and
Yeah,
so I have seen recently, in my experience, in Instagram, a
mhm.
lot more mental health concepts being normalized.
Yeah,
I
for
think we
sure,
still got
for
a
sure.
we still got a long way to go.
Mhm,
But I definitely see some things being normalized as far as mental health, regardless of your field or your job. But I
yeah,
think that there is still and probably always going to be that piece of like, you the therapist, you're supposed to have it all together, or you the
yeah,
comedian, you're supposed to be happy and funny all the time. It's like, nigga, no.
yeah.
Like, that doesn't even sound realistic. So you
Like
want me
I'm
to lie?
drunk right now, like dude.
Like, like you want me to lie. And that's where I feel like the
Mhm.
beauty of this platform, is allowing people to regardless of what they do or who they do or what their brand is, coming to the conclusion that we all real people, we all go through real shit, we all
Yeah.
have those situations that we all bleed, regardless. And so with that, how do you protect your mental health outside of comedy?
With these, look, all I need is these. Nah, shoot. Other than that, nah. Let me see. What do you take your mental health outside of comedy? How do I protect my? That's a good question too. How do I personally protect my mental health outside of comedy? I talk to my mom a lot. Definitely a lot more than I get older. Like the older I get, the more I talk to her. Just kind of to stay connected to my family, and even though they're like in Ohio and I moved down south, just kind of have those still, installed I don't know the word, but have what they instilled in me back in the day, and get a reminder that and keeping my close circle, my circle close. I know a lot of people know me and all that, but I still got a core foundation of people that that I can tell and we can talk to and stuff like that. They know the real me, I know the real them, and we can like really talk about, if I need to talk, if I need to cry, if I need to laugh, I need to whatever, I can get it off my chest. I got certain people that I can tell certain things to, so that allow me to like get that relief off that, and I like that, it works for me, and I'm able to like through them I'm able to talk things out and like get what I need to off my chest out. So that's how I protect my mental health outside
That's
of
dope.
comedy,
That's dope. I always, tell people I'm normalize, being able to compartmentalize people and be aware of your tribe, just by tending to the people that you keep around you and being aware of like, one, I do have a sense of community. Two, I have autonomy over the people that's around me. And three, I can express myself and I'm making sure that the people around me are equally yoked, that they're not toxic or that they're not draining, and if they are, I don't necessarily got to cut them off, but maybe I just push them back. They're not in the inner circle, and being aware and being conscious of the company you keep, that alone is such a crazy like key. That's a cheat code to the game, being conscious of the people you keep around, because believe it or not, we are the company we keep. So I think that that's definitely dope. But what part of Ohio are you from?
I'm from Toledo, so I'm from the mud.
Oh, I'm from
Toledo, but
Toledo.
I went to school at Ohio State, so I was in
Oh,
Columbus for like 5 years or whatever.
okay.
However it took to graduate, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland, and then I moved to DC for grad school, and then I just moved to Atlanta.
You from up the way or down the way?
Up the way.
You from St. Clair?
No. I'm from all right. Since we're going here, technically I'm from Bedford.
Oh, you from
But
Bedford?
but
You from?
for the people who don't know about Ohio, if I say Bedford, they're gonna be like, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
So pretty much, for the listeners, it's not hip.
You like the people that say they from Shaker, like you from Shaker or something, like Cleveland Heights and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Shaker is right there on the tip. Shaker is right on the cusp. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If I say I'm from Bedford and somebody is not from Ohio, then my listeners, they gonna be like, "Where is that? I never
they're not
heard
gonna
of
know
that."
what you talk about. Yeah,
But it's crazy because even when that Amaretta song, I don't know if you heard it, the one like not Atlanta, Decatur is not Atlanta, and now that I'm in Atlanta, I'm low key cracking up at that because it was like, dang, those places really not Atlanta. But like when Lotto came on the remix and was like, we just say that to tourists because they wouldn't know. And like if somebody told me before I moved here, like, oh, I'm from DeKalb, I'm from Marietta, I would be like, where is that? But if they say they're from Atlanta, I'd be like, okay, I know. So
it's like and it's 30 minutes away. They just
if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm a true blue Bearcat. For the people that are from Ohio, I was the mascot and everything.
Really?
So yes, I was the mascot since middle school through high school. I was the sitter snare in the marching band.
Oh, you a professional. You a jack of all trades.
Oh yeah, master of none. But it's fun.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. Okay, so with that was really good. Like going back to the original point, I think that a lot of times people just don't give credit to those things that are wellness and that are good for your mental health, like
Mm-hmm.
keeping people around you that have a good head on their shoulders that you could, bounce ideas off of, and not opening up your circle to everybody. So I always like to ask people, what do they do for their mental health so that we can kind of all be on the same page, having those conversations and understanding that like tending to your mental health is not, even as a therapist, it is not just going to therapy. It is not,
Yeah.
that's not the only way that we can tend to our wellness and be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, so my next question is, do you feel like, I know you talked about with your family and in your circle that you're able to express
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but like as a comedian in that space, do you feel like you're able to freely express yourself and really be vulnerable? Or do you have to kind of hold back to stay either politically correct or on brand or not get slapped in the face? Like what?
I mean, like, if it was a perfect world, like my as a comedian, like if it was a perfect world, we wouldn't have, any discrimination, any racism, any violence, all that. So
Mhm.
if that was the case, I believe that we'd all be able to make jokes about everything because nothing would exist in a sense. Like it'd be literally making jokes because everyone would be normal,
Right,
or
right.
social normal, whatever. But since it's not a perfect world, you can't really, make jokes on every topic. But the person I am, I don't really make jokes in general about certain topics. So like I can't like cuss and do a lot of stuff like that. So that's
Mhm.
kind of a little bit, you know what I mean? But I think the jokes that I do get off and the skits that I do make, they are authentic enough, especially like doing my Greek and my like black college skits because it's just like second nature. I think
Mhm.
it's such me. It's still me, and it's me enough for me to be like comfortable putting out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is me. So I put it out, and it's like 9 out of 10 times I didn't experienced it myself. So it's like it's still enough. But sometimes I do be like, damn, like I wish I could just say this, or I wish I could do that, or I wish I could say stuff Bernie Mac said. You know what I mean? Because like that's my favorite comedian. So I'm like, man, I can't say nothing like what Richard Pryor was saying. Like, you know what I mean? I can't
Mhm.
say nothing Red Fox and them was saying. Like, because everything is just, everything is it's just 2022. So it's like, it's not a perfect world, unfortunately. So, you got to stay within parameters of that. So yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. I don't know. This is not fact check, but somebody told me
Mhm.
that. See, I don't even remember who, but they said there was some comedian, like
Yeah.
an old Throwback Thursday comedian, OG, who was saying that, a true comedian is able to keep up with the times. And what was funny in 1980 may or may not be funny in 2022. And a good comedian is able to make that pivot and not be like, it was funny when Richard Pryor said it. Let me say it. So I
Mhm.
think that a lot of times, just with the culture in general, with cancer culture and being politically correct and all of this,
Yeah.
there's of course ideas on both sides of the spectrum as far as like, okay, you need to make better jokes and not tap into those things. And then we got the side of like, you too sensitive, and like I said,
Mhm.
nothing's good, nothing's bad. The truth and real comedy is probably somewhere in the medium, in the middle of that. Cause like we said at the
Yeah.
beginning, a lot of in our culture, we connect off normalizing, some of the experiences that we had, these cultural
Mhm.
experiences through comedy. And some of those they wasn't pretty and they don't sound pretty, even in a joke.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that I think you do a great job at, finding that middle ground between still being funny, but
Yeah.
not, getting yourself in a position where you poking at something that's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should laugh at that one. Like, the same
Yeah.
looking way we all do when R. Kelly come on and we like, I don't know, is this a safe
Yeah.
space? Is that funny? Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is like me, like I said, I got a group, like a core group, and I can like be myself. So
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like that's important too, like, cause like it's a comedy me, and maybe 75% of that's me sometimes. I'm happy, I'm, making jokes. Then like 25% is just me, where I'm still laughing, but maybe I mean, it's a whole nother like topic, it's a whole nother thing. I'm doing a whole nother, situation. So it's like definitely key to have that circle that you can really be yourself with. So that's what I try to hold on to as well. It's two
Exactly
different
that.
sides. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly that piece
oh,
with compartmentalizing. It's like no one's saying don't say that, don't do that, don't think that's funny. But knowing, I always tell any client, any kid, any mentee, anybody I work with, I tell them it's a time and a place for everything.
yeah,
That might have been funny at the dinner table, but it may
yeah.
not be funny at work.
And you gotta like know your audience, because like, you might make a
Mhm.
joke to 3 people in a group that's your friends, and then you make it to 20 people that's belong to that same group, and 17 of them don't like it, even though but I got my friends, they look like it's different, you know what I mean? It's a different, you gotta know your people and your audience, like it's a whole
Exactly.
different thing. And I like how you said comedians, it's a way that they got to keep with the times. I never heard of that before, but that makes a lot of sense, because I compare comedy to like musicians and rappers and stuff,
Mhm.
because it kind of go hand in hand in a way.
Yeah.
And rappers, they have to like change the sound, because the sound changed, and it remind me of rappers saying like, "Oh, back in my day, we ain't had to do all this mumble rap," and it's kind of like that. Like back in my day, we could
Yeah.
talk about this, so you should be able to kind of like reform and get better in that too. So yeah, definitely.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's a really good point about knowing your audience. And if anybody know me, sometimes people say I compare apples to oranges, but I think a
Mhm.
lot of stuff is transferable. And that's why I think these conversations are powerful, because for you, you may say, okay, me knowing my audience is knowing who to tell this joke to. But I think it's important for us to realize, even those that ain't comedians, that it's important for us to know our audience and how that can impact our relationships and our progress and our how we interact with ourselves in the world as well. If you know that I'm on the side of the family that they be yipping and yapping about politics and that stresses
Mhm.
me out, knowing that that's your audience in that space, do you want to go there? Do you want to have that conversation? So I think, that's a really good piece that we all can learn from, is knowing your audience and knowing, like, in this space, who am I in this space with? What do I know about them? And, is that going to be productive for me or not? And figuring out how to not necessarily change who you are as a person, your core
Mhm.
self. No, we're not telling you to do that. But being aware of, like, in this room, in this space, can this person handle if I give them my emotional currency? If I
Mhm.
tell them how I really feel, can they handle it? And knowing that, because if you think about that beforehand, you say, no, you know what? I know if I tell this person all of this stuff, they're gonna be like, they're gonna blow me off. And that's gonna make me
Mhm.
never want to express myself again. That's how I am. I know
Yeah.
that if I tell somebody how I feel and they be like, Alyssa, you tripping, like you're doing too much, I want to talk about that. I'm never going to speak to them about that again. And I may never even want to talk about that topic again. And I'm learning that's something I'm, growing in for transparency's sake. But knowing that about myself, I don't give my emotional currency to just anybody, because I know my audience in the room. I know, you know what? This person don't take nothing serious. So I'm not about to come in here with that energy.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a life lesson for all of us, is knowing your audience and knowing, like, you know, if I'm at work, do I act or move or shake the same way that if I'm with my family or if I'm in my therapy session? And I think knowing that and compartmentalizing those things can help us be a lot more socially adapt, a lot more
Mhm.
happier in our spaces, because we're not so set on, I'm gonna be me and say everything I want to say
Yeah.
in every room, because that's what self-love is. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I definitely, and I think one thing that you tapped in, you said, knowing that a lot of your jokes, come from your college and your D9 Greek experience. So I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, how did your D9 and college experience, how did that influence you just as a person in general?
Sure, man. I got these gold boots, and it was a wrap. I was like, you feel me? That's nah. But it really just shaped me. Like I feel like, let me see. I'm trying to make it different than my answer. Like, why did you become the bruh? I'm saying it's fun shit. Cause it really, cause it took me. I didn't start comedy until like 3 years after I crossed. So like,
Mhm.
I had a whole Greek life before comedy. So like, which a lot of people be thinking like, oh, I just did comedy and like I was like a Greek comedian from the jump,
Mhm.
which is like, nah, I was on campus, I was regular bruh, going to party, like I was regular bruh stuff. So but yeah, it just made me want to do better. Like it was like it's because when you cross that's like a D9 org or like a black org, like it's for life. You know, whether you know, I mean, obviously you can denounce or whatever, but like, you know, for the most part, it's, you know, it's for
Yeah.
life. You feel me? So that's a whole other subject.
Tomatoes,
Um,
tomatoes.
but you know, so like it's like a goal and an accomplishment that you keep chasing because it's only gets better. Like it's the frat is bigger than you are. Like you join something that's bigger than yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps you become the person that you should have been. You know, and you bring your original. Like I brought myself to my frat, and then my frat helped me be a better person than I am. So like in all aspects, like just networking, being confident in myself and who I was. Like I used to wear like contacts in high school and stuff like that. Like I was like I went through the whole trying to be light skinned phase type.
Yeah, you
Then,
know,
then I started reading like African history and I started like learning all that. But before that, I was like, you know, I'm squinting my eyes and then
hazel eyes, all that.
yeah, and like you know, I'm joining the frat and like subconsciously I'm just like not needing the stuff, and I didn't know until like years after. I'm like, dang, like I didn't need any of this stuff. I didn't need like we rocking gold boots and we not even I don't even buy no new Jordans. Like I ain't buy no new pair of shoes all year. Like I don't need
Yeah.
this. And at the time I'm like, yeah, you know, this is party and all that. But you know, when you sit back and really think about it, like it's really lessons that you learn the older you get. And you like, oh, this is what my older bros be talking about. Like, oh, this is so it definitely shaped me in like more ways than I can imagine. And then with the comedy, it just boosted it.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me and comedy. It just made it go hand in hand, and it just so yeah.
All right, that's dope. I definitely agree. I had I had an AKA on last season.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, you know, it's okay that she didn't become an SG-Row. We'll forgive her and we'll let her in the Blackwell box regardless. But
Mm-hmm.
she was saying, you know, the same thing that, you know, it's like character building. And like I remember when I was like going through the process, I was like, this is like I feel like I learned so many life lessons in this short amount of time, you know, and then having that network because I crossed in at Cleveland State and then I immediately after I graduated, I moved to DC
Oh yeah,
and I touched down in DC and it was like I had lived there for months and
yeah.
years because niggas
You
was
gonna
like
know
pull up.
people.
Like I went to a Shora's house for Christmas and they had a plate for me and a gift and everything. I'm
Hey,
like, I
I
just met
definitely went
you
to a
here.
bruh's house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like just yeah,
Yeah, so it's
you
definitely that.
family.
Yeah, that sense of community, and I think that that's really important, especially in the Black community, for us to have spaces to go and
Mm-hmm.
exist together, you know, and learn from each other, learn life experiences from each other. So what do you think is the importance of D9 orgs in general for the Black culture?
I think the D9 orgs, especially like in the college realm, it gives that example of Black excellence. You know,
Mhm.
it's and not saying D9s are the only way to you know give that example at all, but it's like one of the like when you see the D9, it's like I ain't trying to hype us, but it's like I don't know, like some people be thinking like it's like the Greek Avengers, you know what I
Mm,
mean, like real talk. So it's like Power Rangers and stuff.
yeah.
So like, especially like kids and stuff, like it's and you probably know people that's legacies, and they be like, I knew I was gonna be the bros when I was 5. I got pictures. I knew I
Mhm.
was gonna be a SG when I was 2 years old, and my granny like. So it's like people really like look up to us in a way, and so whatever we do, whether it's telling jokes, doing podcasts, doing civil rights movements, anything you're doing, like people are looking up, and they tell us like when we cross, they said, bro, like whatever you do, people are gonna look at you like whether
Mhm.
you know or not, whether you famous or not, like you're these letters are you forever. Like people are gonna like whatever you do, you're gonna lead by example. So you gotta I think it's important because the things that we do, and you can pick out different Black excellence in the in the atmosphere or whatever, and you can pick out these leaders. And you'd be like, oh, they're AKA, oh, they're Alpha, oh, they're and it's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands. And
Mhm.
then you see like what do they all have together, and it's that D9, or and you like okay, something that's in the D9 that they are all of our founders and their reason is something that the Black culture needed, and you can just really just pick it up from there. And yeah, so yeah, that's why I think the D9 is important for sure.
I definitely agree. I think that concept of representation, you know, being able to see like this is a group of Black educated professionals like doing it, giving back to their community, existing and not just being one type of Black person. I think that's the beauty of it, is that it really illustrates this concept of Black excellence, and not in a way that's a monolith. Like,
Yeah.
niggas do everything. They're in all different spaces, sectors, and they all are excellent. They all are, setting a great example and being a representative in a way, like you said, for people, kids, and even adults, to look up to and to aspire to and see, like, look at these Black people coming together doing good shit,
Yeah.
especially because I hear a lot of times people, a lot of Black people, they say, we don't get together enough. We not unified enough. White
Yeah.
people, they all gonna go vote for whoever together, whether they right or wrong, they riding for each other. And I think it's good to, be able to see like this. I mean, you'll see hundreds of thousands of, bruhs in one space, or even like
Yeah.
at AGP, just Black
AGPs, yeah.
Greek niggas everywhere. And that everybody here is, even that, not saying that they perfect or anything like that, but
Yeah.
they are coming together, showing some camaraderie, giving back to their community, giving back to one another. And I think just seeing that alone is like, even if you don't never join a D9 org or not, once you stop hating, for the people that be hating, once you stop hating, you can realize like, dang, this is cool for us to see. This is cool
Yeah.
for white people to see and be like, okay, they doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're unified and doing good shit right there.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
So, what do you think? What is something that the average person might not know about the Black Greek experience that you think that they should know? That you want to put them on
Oh
game
man,
about?
it's probably cliche, but probably that like we got a saying like it's harder to be the bruh than to become the bruhs. So
Mm.
like however you become the bruhs, whether you paperwork or whatever, like whatever them answers that you had to put on the test or whoever you had to call, meet up, whatever, it's harder to be in the org. And I think that's like, I mean, I'm not gonna speak, but I think that's for like most orgs,
Mm-hmm.
because like you think like whatever you do, that's hard, but like actually having those expectations like we just talked about of like if you some of us have people that don't, they might go away from their frat or sorority, they might not do anything, or they might only be letter wearers, or they might only party. But to truly be like, a Power Ranger in a
Yeah,
D9,
yeah,
like to really be an Avenger and like tackle aspects or be good at one aspect, like specialization, and know it or whatever. Because you got different roles, but you really have to you that's the hard work. Like you really have to like wake up. You really have to throw a kickback on Friday. Make sure it's chicken. Make sure it's all this. Stay up. Then you got a Powder Puff football event Saturday morning. You got to get up at 8 a.m. Set it up. Then you got another party that you got to throw at a club. Da da da. Then you got to wake up for community service Sunday. Then you got study tables Monday. You know what I mean? Then you got to go to class for your
yeah,
exam. You really got to, you know what I mean? And then you got to do it like all over again, and you got to keep doing it. And like, yeah, so people don't know that. People think like, yeah, we doing this on the party, but it's a lot of hard work like afterwards. Like we all
yeah,
2 hours of sleep because we were just hopping for kids at a high school all night.
yeah.
Y'all wouldn't even know that, but we gonna hop for the girls too, but we gonna hop for the kids first. You know what I mean? Like, you
Exactly.
feel me? So yeah, I say that for sure. Because a lot of people in the org don't know that as well. Like they join the
Mm-hmm.
org and be like, oh, I didn't know we still had to read books about our history. Like, I didn't know
Yeah.
we had to learn. I'm like, yeah, like it's for life. So
That's definitely true. Once you get in there, you be like, wait a minute. Because I know
yeah,
when I was an undergrad, I had 3 majors. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I got an internship to go, and so
yeah,
definitely you gotta have that time management piece. And I think that I agree. I think that that's kind of an underrated part. All of the things, and even to your original point, and also knowing that people are looking at you, knowing that people
yeah,
are looking at you and expecting you to do or be something. It's like you already are dealing with just being Black, and people looking at you and expecting you to do whatever or be whatever, and then you're adding this extra component. I know I'll be driving in DC and I'll be wanting to cut somebody off, and then I'll be like, I got my plates on the back. Let me just,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what? Let me just
yeah.
mind my business, because I don't want
Mm-hmm.
nobody to see the plates and associate, something negative with the entire org because I'm just showing my butt in beats
Yeah.
and shit, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree, and I think that that can kind of cross over as well to comedy. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think something that the average person might not know about being a black comedian? Your experience with that you think, oh yeah, this would be a good thing for me to put them up on game
I'll probably say one thing is just I say like from my experience, maybe that we ain't happy all the time. I mean, I guess it should be obvious, right? But
on. It should be,
yeah, I
shouldn't it?
mean, it should be obvious,
It
but
should be.
I don't know. I think like, yeah, like that's really true. Like people really be like, like you gotta be smiling all the time, be happy. And that ain't the case. Like everybody humans and stuff. And like with me, I'm a machine. So like I keep going. I'm gonna keep making videos. Like you wouldn't notice. Like the outside world wouldn't notice. My core group they'd notice if something wrong. But yeah, like I like some of the like, and then I think it's like all comedians like some of the funniest jokes came from the most messed up situations or the most painful
Mm-hmm.
situations. So like you know not necessarily that joke, but maybe a time I was going through where I made that joke, or maybe what I mean, because that's like a comedic relief for me. So like, if I like, it might be a really really good joke, and I might have had went through a dark time or a sad moment or whatever, in order to come up with that, and that's one of the things that helped me come out of that depressive episode or that sad moment or that
Mm.
painful situation. So just kind of think of it like we ain't always just sitting up here laughing. I'll be laughing all the time. Like I'll be doing my thing. So like
Yeah.
I'll be laughing a lot. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes we just be chilling and we really just be sad sometimes. Like and we just be writing our jokes and it come from a sad place in our heart, not always a funny place. Just like you, we all together. You feel me? So
Yeah.
we all the same.
That's dope. And I think that made me think of your comment of, you know, comedians
Mm-hmm.
mirror and like music, and musicians, we'd be like, oh, that song, when the song come on, we
Yeah,
all like, yes, oh, but in order for Keisha Cole to make that banger, she had to get her heart broke, bro. That's
yeah, a
kind
couple
of,
times,
yeah, that's kind
a
of
few
sad
times.
when we think about it. So understanding what goes behind, even with
Mm-hmm.
the comedy, with music, with therapy, with the group experience, understanding that like a lot of times what you see up front is not the whole story. It's not the end
Yeah,
all be all, because behind all of that, which is like I said, the concept behind the whole podcast is that we are real people and we heal through having these conversations, talking to one another and saying, like, yo, yeah, that was funny, but this is my experience. And someone being like, oh, you too? And now we
mm-hmm.
got a fruitful conversation, where people know, like, oh, I'm not the only one, I'm not the only comedian thinking like, dang, I gotta act happy all the time. It's
Yeah.
other people having that same experience. And so usually, to close it out, I ask people, what are three things that we could start doing today to be more happy and improve the quality of life? But because I'm a deuce, we're gonna switch it up a little bit, and I'm gonna just ask you what's two things, you know what I'm saying? What's two things that we could do to start improving our quality of life? It could be things that you do, things that you wanna, get better at and do. What can we do, Quail?
Mm, let me see. I'm trying to think of like a shroom answer. Let's see.
This will make you think. This will make the people have to think. We want to walk away with something
Okay.
like,
Like
yeah,
drink more water. Like I ain't gonna say that.
look at me. I'm already following your lead. Look at that.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something my mama told me yesterday, and I was like, damn. So she said to protect your little self. So like, so she told me like to protect little Quail. So like, and she showed me a picture like protect him. So what I got from that is like don't lose sight of your innocence and like your when you know what I mean innocence in the time where fun was fun and
Mm,
before bills, before relationships, before maybe some deaths in the family, before heartbroken, before all these negative things, that stage when you was just everything was perfect and everything was good, like hold on to that because we still have that. Even the most messed up people in the world got some type of like, but they they strayed away. and we all got that. And you just it's important never to like leave that. Always hold on to that, because that's what's gonna keep you going. That's what's gonna keep your soul you, and that's what's gonna keep you being you at whatever you do. That's what's gonna keep you being you. So yeah, so I say that's number one. I hope that
That's
was
dope.
deep enough for me.
That's dope. Your mama need to write a book. Mamas be knowing, don't
Shoot.
they? They be knowing stuff.
Let me see. I am reading a book. Let me see. Let me see. Another one. I say just have like I ain't gonna say have fun, but like just really have fun. Like enjoy life. Like
Yeah.
we be stressing, we be putting deadlines and like social constraints on ourselves, and we see somebody in a relationship and then we want a relationship. We see something that they got money, we want it. Like you really gotta be content with yourself, and like this something that I'm still going through every day. Like I'm still trying to be happy with just myself. Like, yeah, I might see a pair of shoes and I'm like, I need them. You know what I mean? I'm like, so I'm still trying to just be as humble as and just myself as possible, and be okay with just being myself and truly not worrying about what other people think. So I think when you really can conquer that, you really can like you can take over anything. So yeah, that's the two things I said.
That's dope. Protect little you and have fun.
Yeah, laugh more, pretty much.
Laugh more. I think a lot of people, I think that one is so underrated, because whenever I tell people like my theoretical orientation and I learned in college, is reality therapy. And that's a whole bunch of words pretty much to say we all born with 5 basic needs that we are chasing all of our lives. And we know we chasing security. We know we chasing love and belonging. We know we chasing success. These are all things. But I think the most underrated one is fun. That is a literal need. We need to be stimulated. We need to have creative thinking time. We need to have fun and laugh and enjoy life. Like we need it to be, otherwise depression wouldn't be a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that definitely that is underrated. And so I love and appreciate you for coming through and letting us know. For sure, that was definitely great. And now you in the Blackwell Box family, so we want to stay connected with you. So I got to ask for the people, how can we support you, stay locked in with what you're doing? How can we do that, Quail?
Y'all can donate to my Cash App at
Hey, run them coins up.
Nah, just follow me on all social media platforms at Quail Not Funny, IG, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Quail Not Funny. And y'all can just show support, follow me, like a video, and we can laugh together.
There you go. You heard it here first. Quail Not Funny is right here. If you're watching, it's on the screen. Quail Not Funny. Follow him on all his platforms. And while we're giving out shout outs, make sure you follow in the Blackwell Box on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Make sure you stream the audio playback wherever you get your podcast at. Make sure you follow me at wellness.liss. And we're going to catch y'all next Wellness Wednesday. In the meantime, in between time, make sure that you stay black, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and most importantly, stay well, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.